coming in strong with another Moped Outlaws live edition, the semi-caffeinated Mark version. Welcome
The
to my party.
uncaffeinated Wilkes.
It's a little different dynamic. Normally, Greg, you're the one who's like got fire and brimstone, and
Oh,
today,
I can hold my own. Well, I can hold my own, my friend.
I know that's what she said.
Yeah, that's what she said I am going to have to do. It was an order, not a notice.
Yeah, so I'm really enjoying this week because I have my band is playing on Saturday at the Paper Mill Creek Saloon. My band Lumination is playing there, and I'm really
Is
stoked
this
for
the
that.
birthday gig?
Yeah, a gentleman named Paul, I've forgotten his last name. He wanted to have us as his birthday party, so he hired us to play, and he's paying us a flat rate and then recouping from the door charges. So from what I know about door charges and clubs and bars and stuff, he's going to take a beating. But he asked for us. We're coming, and I'm excited. We have a guest sitting in with us, a guy named Gardner, and Gardner's the guitarist for a band called Soul Ska. And so he's going to do a couple of songs, and there's a DJ. So there's a DJ and taco trucks before we go on. And then at 9 o'clock we play, and we're going to play straight through. The only break is going to be when Gardner comes up to do a couple songs, but we're basically going to play from 9 to 11 ish without a break. Wow. Unless the birthday boy or someone who's high up in his court says, oh, we want to sing him happy birthday and give him the cake, so you guys need to take a 15-minute break. Then we'll do that. But, basically the idea is, I've seen this so much in clubs. Like, as soon as the band takes a break, energy dissipates, right? Yeah. And I know, I get it. Like, bands want to go get a beer or smoke a joint or whatever. And
well, they
but
shouldn't.
I've seen it time and time and again. You take a break and it's over. And I saw, apparently Bruce Springsteen was at Chase Center 2 days ago. I guess that was Monday night.
Yeah.
And everyone's amazed that this 76-year-old dude can still do a 3.5-hour show without stopping.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. So there's that. And then since I'm being verbose, I'll just continue talking and say, I went to a physical therapy appointment for my hip, which has been hurting more and more and more and more with each passing month. So that's not good news, but I'm grateful that I have access to physical therapy, and I have a set of exercises now that I can do that will hopefully improve it. And
hey, are you guys heating your pool?
No, it's still. Yeah.
Have you thought about cold therapy for your hip?
Oh, I have been doing cold therapy.
Yeah, every day?
Not every day.
Well,
but yeah, no, it's helpful for a little while. I mean, I could explain to you the nuances of the way the hip bone works and all that, because of course I went to physical therapy yesterday and they told me all about it. But the thing is, you get old. That's just what happens.
Yeah, but I think there's things that we could do that are maintenance oriented for the body.
That is so empathetic of you.
Yeah, well, you got an old man talking to an old man, a couple old rockers going back and forth, trying to top each other with when I was your age, I used to.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that, and my friend Tomas is going to come by later today, and we're going to talk about building agentic AI systems. So
that's what I wanted to ask you about. You were working on that agent for investments.
Yes.
Is that up and running, or is it still a work in progress?
Well, it doesn't do the things for me, but it does help me decide what to look for.
When I last spoke to you, you had met a person who said they were making thousands a month.
Right.
And it was an automated process.
Right. So there's a level of installing those agents in and then having them be able to access email and do transactions and that sort of thing that is I'm very cautious about, right? So what I took out was the exposure, i.e., the agent can make decisions, but it can't execute those decisions. It can
Okay,
tell
so
me
you
what it thinks I
don't.
should do.
And are you finding yourself making some money?
Well,
I'd say that's a
the
no.
one thing I bought with it, let me explain the nuance of why I responded that way. I bought something with it that doesn't wrap up till the end of April.
Okay.
It was like it's on a platform, like I can't remember it off the top of my head right now, but anyway, uh, so that bet, it's literally a bet. You're betting this will go that way, this that, right? So I bet that based on its recommendation, and it takes till April 30th for me to find out if I won that one. I decided to look around and see if there was one that I could do just on my own on the same platform. And so I bet that Jack Black would not say this word, Cowan or something like that, in the opening monologue. And it was a long shot bet. It was like the underdog bet. So I bet 75 and I made 200 off
Oh,
that bet,
you
right?
cleared 200, like you made 270.
No, I made 125 additional,
Okay, that's
right?
solid. That's
That
really
was
good.
solid. And
Yeah.
then I bet on the Giants within 5 minutes and lost it all.
Oh God.
Right. So that
Just for
whole
them to
human
win.
impulse thing. Well, it was the eighth inning and they were ahead by 4, and it was, it's just too seductive. So sports betting is the thing that gets people in trouble, clearly, right?
While betting
And
gets
it wasn't a
people in trouble.
recommended. The agent didn't do like the whole analysis and say this is right. I just was like, "Ooh, I made money. I want to make more."
They're gonna win. They lost. I'm broke.
I'm not broke, but it
Wow, that
when
was
if the other bet comes in, I'll be back to what my initial investment was, and then
okay.
I'll do a more conservative path from there.
Man, it
So,
seems like there's merit to actually letting the agent do the bets for you because it won't get emotional. It'll all be very logical.
well, yeah, there's that. There's also the fact that in the United States, you can't bet on Poly Market, which is the more robust, has more offerings.
Mhm.
Kalshi is the name of the one you can use in the US, but there aren't that many plays on it. There aren't that many things. And I could be talking, we could be setting up agents that would do stock investments or bond investments, or there's a lot of different ways to look at applying that tool set to economic activity. So one of the interesting things about my conversation with Tomas that I'm looking forward to today is he's been researching for his company how to build a botnet or how to build a bot thing. And I'm looking forward to speaking with him because he's a CISO, certified information security officer, like a CEO for security, digital security. And he does not fuck around with things. It's got to be bulletproof, right? So I'm looking forward to having that conversation. And what I see out there in X and other lands is people buy a Mac Mini, they cut their bots loose, and their bots have access to email and all kinds of things, and they make money. But one of the triggers for my skepticism is that most of what I see are those people selling their method
Or two books,
on
right?
X. Like,
Right.
if you want to do this, buy this thing. And then you go to a sales funnel and you
Yeah.
pay for $37 for their fucking paper thing that they wrote. I don't, it doesn't look to me like all the security protocols and setups are in there. Some of them look pretty good. I've bookmarked a few of those on X. And I think there's a possibility that having agents working on digital work might be able to generate income. But
Well, you
I'm
could
going slow.
create an email account that's strictly for your agent, so
Oh
that
yeah,
it's not going into your personal emails and all that. You just have go to
right.
Gmail and yeah. So,
Yeah,
and you could open up an account that is just for this. So, like, again, it's sort of a closed environment.
agreed,
Yeah.
agreed. And once I've got a bit more um, of my sea legs, so to speak, I'm going to go deeper into it. Like I think there's a potential for how it could help the show, how Moped Outlaws might get in front of more people or have more engagement or, be get better guests or those sorts of things. Like if we had a 24/7 agent going out there trying to ping people to come be on the show, that might be interesting. And in theory, it could actually conduct typographical interviews through a text interface that we could then put in what is that 11 labs and give it voices, right? There's this thing called 11 labs. Do you know what that is? So it's an AI that clones people's voices. So you and I could go in and we could do the little thing where it says read A, read E, read it has this thing where it
Right.
captures and
The voice.
models you.
Right.
And so we could have a bot that goes and creates text conversations with people, then bring those transcripts in and have 11 labs voice them in our own voices, right? And have like, but why? There's no point. The whole point of doing this is it's fun to sit here and
Right.
yak with people,
Right. Right.
right? So what I'm really honed in on is not the entertaining sort of thing about playing with the devices, but how can I monetize it? How can I create some kind of stream of income that comes through? And sort of there's two primary ways. One is I need better lead gen for my coaching business. And I'm also interested in ways that my coaching courses could. Let's just do that again. This is Mark.
And people wonder why they are. You wonder why people aren't hiring you to coach them.
You know what? If I can't be my authentic self, if I have to be a phony baloney to get coaching clients, that's not nah. Anyway, so I'd like to get some lead gen going on that. And what occurred to me was my vision is really coach, like my whole idea around business is coaching. But what if I adapt to business at a level of what if I sold anything or what could it be beyond just that? And that tells me
What
that
if
my
you
thinking.
sold this little $30 manual about how you did what you did, and you're like on X, and you're like, yeah, if you want to do this, go get my manual, and you have this whole.
That's certainly one option. Yeah, right. But
You become one of those guys you don't like.
exactly. That's oh man. No. But people still need, baby formula. Or they still need like toilet paper or right? Like maybe there's a way to create a business around automation that's not built around my conception of it as the way I see it now through coaching.
Hey,
One of the reasons I love coaching so much is because how fulfilling it is for me.
do you have an NDA that will keep you from writing stories from your experiences while you were working for Lucas?
Uh-huh.
So you
Yes.
can write a book about different experiences there.
Whether I could or not is debatable. I think I probably could write a book, right?
I wonder how people do that when they write books about their experiences.
Well, it depends on I think it depends on the level at which you talk about things. Like if you talk about your own experience, that doesn't reveal the internal processes and private functional relationships between, like, if I say I went down to the archive and I saw a deer waiting outside the door, that's one thing, right?
Yeah,
But
what
if
if
I
Mick
say
Jagger was out there?
what?
I went down to the archive, and there was Mick Jagger and Keith Richards smoking a joint. And they said, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, "Oh, good. Hey, do you want a hit of this?" And so I took a hit of their joint. And
Well, that probably would be okay too, but more like if I one day I was sitting in the commissary eating, and at the table next to me, I heard, Steven Spielberg talking about, this or that thing.
uh,
Now I'm
those
talking
encounters
about
are,
someone
yeah,
else's intellectual property or their experience, and that's not good. So the other thing is, you know, there might be stories there
yeah.
for
That's what
sure.
I was kind of thinking. Like you might,
Yeah, might be worth, thinking about that. But then again, no one else is writing books about their experience there. Like you
yeah,
can't,
but
there's literally like, well, I guess you got not Lauren Michaels. Um, Different guys at ILM have like books that they've written about that they're quoted in, that is done through Lucasfilm and through their books, where there's, the how Star Wars was made books, the art of Star Wars. All these people get interviewed, and that's where the stories get told. But that all goes through the
right, right.
author and
Okay,
their
exactly.
licensing
Like,
agreement with Lucasfilm. No one's out
just
there writing.
thinking
There's
like
one
Star
exception.
Wars has who's the one exception?
This
Yoda.
guy named
Yoda's out
Steve
there.
Williams. His name was Spaz. He worked at ILM, and Spaz basically was the guy who sat in the basement for 24 hours a day, weeks at a time, figuring out how to make the digital dinosaurs work for Jurassic Park.
Oh, I've heard of this. Yeah.
And no one before him had created digital characters that were functional at the level of articulation and believability, right? He
Right.
actually was able to create a wireframe and get skin on it and all that. And he was the darling boy of ILM and Lucasfilm for about a year and a half as a result. But he got cocky and he did something he wasn't supposed to. And he also has a story that he tells about how someone else took credit for his work. And so he got like on the outs with them, and they kicked him off the ranch, and he's
Ridiculous
known, but
concept.
he's kept out of things, so to
Well,
speak.
here's what's he
But
doing now
he did a movie,
about his experience, or
yeah, about his experience, and he wrote
so
a book.
yeah, that's the thing. It's kind of like that social network part where the Wahlberg character says, "Oh, you made Facebook, then go out and make Facebook." Like, if you're all that, go be all that again.
Okay. Um, anyway, he's just an example of the one person beyond the sort of approved pipeline that I've seen anything from. And people I know that are don't have books about them or aren't quoted in books, who have stories they could tell, don't do it. And I think that's twofold. It's not just about the NDA. It's about the integrity of and sanctity of privacy around that experience. Like, there's a certain professionalism that says, I don't talk about things like that. I don't need to,
Well, it's more,
right?
it's not a need to. It's like, the book about Auntie Mame, the guy wrote about his experience growing up with his aunt raising him. And they made the movie Mame. I think it was a Broadway play too, or
Hmm.
whatever. And that's a real story. And it's wonderful. And it's great to just hear these wonderful stories of this person's experience. And
Okay.
that's what I'm wondering. Like, you might have experiences where, like for me, when when Jonah and I went to the warehouse and you did the tour with us as part of Jonah's birthday, that was just such a vibrant experience. Like I could tell a story about that, and it could be interesting. It could be fun to hear. And it's not
Agreed.
no, there's no harm. Like I'm not doing it to like, oh, guess
No, I get it. It's a great question, and part of my ego is enthralled by the idea, right? And then another part of me is like, not so much. Um, so
The
it'd be
only thing
hard.
I
Like
would
I'd have to
say,
go through and try to remember like all the things.
remember what you once forgot.
Yes, because so much of it I don't remember.
Yeah, you have
Like I
talked
don't even
about.
remember you and Jonah coming.
Really?
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, when was that? Like,
That's so funny. That's
right,
brilliant because in my life, it's such a bright vision. Like I had
right.
such a lived experience. And for you, you don't even remember it. That's what's fascinating about life is how, that kind of joke of we're the star of our own movie, but everyone's starred in their own movie. And there's all
Well, I'm
these,
going to drop one little thing right now, and hopefully it won't get us in trouble.
oh, come on, let's get in trouble. We're outlaws.
No, I'm not going to do it.
Okay. But
I've already had the call once on one podcast where I got the phone call from George's office. So
ah,
not doing that again.
ah,
That's
yeah,
why. That's
he
why I
doesn't,
don't write the book.
he
It's
doesn't
because,
have an office anymore.
yeah, he does.
Hey, does he still have that educational thing that he
Oh,
took
yeah.
all
George
his,
Lucas Educational Foundation was endowed when the Disney sale went through.
right, right,
George poured a massive chunk. Like, we're not talking a few hundred million.
right,
We're talking about massive amounts of money
right.
into it so that it would last for a long, long time. So, yeah, Gleff is still there. George
Clef.
Lucas Educational Foundation.
Right.
And their
What
new
was
Lucas Museum of Narrative Art is opening in September.
in Chicago?
No, in LA.
Oh, it's in LA.
Hmm.
I remember when the Bay Area was really shocked that he didn't choose the Bay Area.
It wasn't him. He chose the Bay Area. But
Well,
the San Francisco supervisor said no.
well, they didn't want to do what he wanted to do. That's what I heard. Like he had this plan for how it was all going to be, and they were like, "Oh no, that's too much." He's like, "Okay, bye bye."
Maybe.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I remember it differently. I went to the
You don't
prep.
even remember Jonah and I at the warehouse and you gifting him.
I knew that was coming.
Ah,
I was actually at the supervisors meeting and stood up and spoke and told them what an amazing thing it would be for the community, right? For the Bay Area culture. And one of the things most people don't realize about the plan is there's an educational component. It's not just to pay your money and come walk around the museum. There's classes for kids. There's art classes for kids and those sorts of things.
you ever been to the Disney Museum in the Presidio? The Walt
Yeah,
Disney?
Disney Family Museum. Yes, I have
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, it's brilliant. I love that place.
Yeah, I really like the two-story optical printer. That thing is
The
phenomenal.
glass,
Yeah,
yeah, that was brilliant. What a
yeah,
brilliant invention.
yeah,
Walt was a badass,
yeah. He
and he
was.
worked with badasses. That's the thing about it. I was thinking about that recently, like all the people who made up the music from the Haunted Mansion and all these pieces of music that we just love from Disney, and thinking about when he was alive, um, and how he got great people to work for him. That was part of the greatness, is to let these people do their thing.
Yeah.
I think Jobs had that ability to bring great people in and let them do their thing.
Well, there's a piece here about using the word "let them do their thing," and I would change that phrase to drive them to do their best.
Well, I was just listening to oh dang it, who's the woof, 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 Arsenio Hall is on
Oh,
Joe
wow.
Rogan, and it's a really good listen.
Yeah.
And part of what is great about it is two people who are just authentic to their course and not really like getting into the whole, if you do this, then it'll, they're like, wait, this is how I do it, and staying true to that and that paying off.
That's for sure a great way to approach life. Like, I think we've done a good job of that. Um, and at various times, I've put pressure on you to try and market this a little more traditionally or whatever, and you've held fast to those core beliefs. And um, you know, I think that we're lucky to have an audience. And I just want to note, we went past 500 subscribers on YouTube. That's something to celebrate. Thank you to our audience. And if you're listening now and you haven't subscribed on YouTube, please go and subscribe. Who knows? You could be our 700th.